So why does all of this matter? Well, it matters because small and medium-sized enterprises are the vast majority of businesses in this country. And if they're burdened by trying to find out how to comply with regulation, they're not focusing on making the things, providing the services that they are there to make or provide. It also matters because your goal in managing health and safety is protecting your workforce. And for some years now, the fatal accident rate, the number of people killed per 100,000 workers, which is a standardised rate across all advanced economies, has been static. It was going down at a steady rate, and it's just stopped. And we think that part of the reason for this may be that we still haven't cleared the decks enough for businesses to focus on the right things in health and safety terms and stop the traditional causes of accidents. It's not as though businesses are finding new and inventive ways to kill people. They're still dying in the same old ways, falling from heights or being run over by vehicles being two of the major causes. Getting it right matters too, because if you, as business people, feel that your burdens are not reducing at all, you're sooner or later going to start complaining to your elected representatives, and that creates pressure to reduce the amount of regulation further. Now, some may say well, that's necessary, there's more that could be cut, but my expert view is that we're pretty close to the bone now, and if we started to cut further, we might start to find ourselves reducing vital protections. So I think we need to look in other areas at how we can do better and be more effective for businesses. At the level of the workplace, of course, it matters because you have limited resources, time, money, and so on, and you are focused quite properly on running your business, so hopefully on growing and innovating. You also don't want to be spending your money necessarily on consultants where they're not necessary. And they can be very useful. Some businesses say that they're a very effective source of help for particular problems that they have. But there's also a marketing exercise attached to consultancy, and they will be working very hard to persuade you that there's always something new to wrestle with in health and safety terms. And for most small businesses, that's simply not true. At the moment, the body of regulation that there is has been fairly static in terms of the basic requirements for a decade or so. So this sense that health and safety is ever changing, I think feeds into the worry that businesses have about not knowing where they can stop, but it's a bit of a myth. So just beware of that. So I'm going to come on now to talk about one piece of guidance that has been around for a while, but we've revamped to make more straightforward for businesses. And if health and safety is causing you sleepless nights, this may be your bedtime cocoa. It's HSE's entry-level guidance for lower-risk businesses. It's called Health and Safety Made Simple. And you can see from this screenshot of the webpage here that there are 11 areas of basic task that you need to think about. And each of those items in red there will take you to a little bit more information with digestible detail on what you need to do. And I don't know whether anything strikes you about them, but they're all fairly basic things, none of them requiring the degree in rocket science that you supposedly need to tackle health and safety. They're things that you'd expect. So you need someone who's knowledgeable, who has skills on health and safety, knows where to look for the right information. That could be someone from your own workforce. And if you are a lower risk business, then we would say that this guidance would be the first place you should go rather than Googling health and safety consultants. Preparing a health and safety policy is more straightforward probably than many businesses think. You're not required to have one in writing if you employ fewer than 5 people. And I'm often asked by smaller businesses below that threshold what they can do instead. Well, why not record a minute of yourself on your mobile phone explaining what it is you do to manage health and safety, who is responsible, what they do to keep checks on it, and so on. That could be enough. If you do need to write it all down, we have a template on our website that takes the hard work out of inventing it for yourself. So first aid, the health and safety law poster, straightforward basic information about what the law requires, which has to be displayed in the workplace. Risk assessment. I think that's a big puzzle area for a lot of businesses. And the temptation is to produce a pile of paperwork that grows ever higher to show that you've dealt with every risk there is, right down to the possibility of someone being overcome by Tipex fumes, if anyone still uses Tipex these days. The purpose of a risk assessment is to make sure you've got your risks under control, either that you've removed them if you can, or that they're managed down to a level that isn't going to cause some significant harm. So you might, in due course, be seeing a slight, subtle change to this page. We won't be talking about risk assessment, we'll be talking about risk control, because that's what it's all about. Don't get hung up on doing the assessment, focus on what you actually do as a result to bring the risk back into control. Okay, so what this page aims to do for businesses is to give you the basics to help you comply with health and safety law, to protect your people, to leave you free to run your business, to make what you make, to provide the service you provide. It's written in very, very straightforward terms so that the smallest of businesses can get to grips with it. And the really crucial bit is in blue at the bottom here. And I would almost like a megaphone at this point to shout this out, because it goes back to the point I was making earlier about businesses wanting to know when they can stop. Following this guidance is normally enough to comply with the law. You are free to take other action, except where the guidance says you must do something specific. So normally enough to comply with the law. When you've worked your way through it, you can stop. And that's the reassurance that I think has been missing from some of the guidance we've produced over the years. And we really do mean that when we say that the guidance alone will normally be enough. You won't need to go to a consultant just to double check. You can rely on the guidance.